Hey guys, it's me, Red, and today I'm going to be reading some r/Today I Effed Up. Effing up is kind of how 2020 behaved, isn't it? Alright, let's get into the stories. Today I effed up by donating my hair and having my boyfriend break up with me. So I've always had extremely long hair. Just yesterday it reached the floor when it was down. It was thick and healthy and well cared for. Recently my mother was diagnosed with cancer and it's been a horrible time for all of us. She recently started her chemo treatments and no one is sure what'll happen, but we all hope she'll be okay. She began losing all her hair from the treatments. It wasn't nearly as long as mine, but she still loved it and had really healthy hair. So I started talking with my boyfriend about donating my hair, and we agreed I should. So yesterday I shaved my head completely bald, even with a razor and everything. I had it all nicely separated and donatable, and I went to a pretty highly regarded charity. I did ask if they could make a wig for my mother, and they agreed. Afterwards, I went about my day. Then I went back home, and soon after I got home, my boyfriend came home. He was shocked to find that I was bald and thought when I was donating it, I'd only cut off a little bit. I thought this was weird since I mentioned buzzing everything off since my mother was bald as well. He said he never thought I'd do it. But we changed the subject quickly and ate dinner before going to bed. This morning I woke up when he was getting ready for work and he told me he couldn't be with a bald girl. I kindly reminded him it would grow back, to which he replied it would take too long. So he broke up with me and left my apartment, leaving me alone, hairless, and scared. Oh my god. It sucks. That's so horrible. I'm so sorry. But really you dodged a bullet, because if he would leave you for something so superficial, especially when you did it for such an important reason, then you really don't need him in your life, especially when you're going through something so difficult. I'm so sorry. Okie dokie. Give the like button a pokey, and let's get on with our next story. Today I effed up by giving my coworker a nickname on Facebook Messenger. Did you know that if you give someone a nickname on Facebook Messenger, the person you nicknamed is notified? Because I sure didn't. I'm fairly good friends with this attractive coworker, and we talk on Facebook Messenger pretty often. About a month ago, I stumbled upon the nickname function in Messenger, and I thought it'd be fun to name him eggplant emoji McBulgePants, because of the distinct features that I've noticed when he wears certain pants. He never said anything, so I thought my fun little secret was safe, until he sent me a message today. Hey, can you name me back to my name? I don't want people to get the wrong impression. Oh, I should mention we're both guys. He's straight. And I guess this is how he found out I'm gay. So things have been kind of awkward. Hopefully he's a good enough friend that he'll settle down. And the fact that he didn't tell you to change it back straight away means he was probably at least flattered. So I didn't even know you could give nicknames in Facebook Messenger, but I don't really use it, so that's probably why I never noticed that. Okay, here is our third story. Today I effed up by sucking on my waiter's finger. This happened 30 minutes ago and is exactly what I get for going out during COVID. So, today is my birthday and it's been incredibly uneventful. I took the day off work, but despite that, it's just been a normal day. No friend group gatherings, no gifts, just another day. And I'm totally fine with that. My mum, on the other hand, felt bad that there was no celebration of any kind, so she was insistent that we go to my favourite restaurant, a local Mexican restaurant. I agreed to go for a very early dinner. We get there and are having a good time, and it was nice to pretend the world was normal for a moment. I ordered a margarita, they ID'd me, and figured out it was my birthday. Fast forward to the end of the dinner, and I thought I was in the clear from a birthday celebration from the staff. As they bring the bill, they put a big sombrero on my head and started clapping and singing and set down a dessert in front of me. One of the guys had whipped cream on his finger and went to put it on my nose. Drunk me didn't comprehend that and was very confused. Due to the big sombrero covering my face, he was kind of stumbling trying to find my nose, and I thought, oh, I know what I'm supposed to do. And my dumbass self sucked the whipped cream off his finger. I realized immediately after that, no, that is not how you interact with strangers. But it was too late. They picked up the pace of their singing and the guy ran away right after and hid in the kitchen. The whole restaurant, which granted was like 10 other people, but still, stared at me and my mum couldn't stop laughing. We got the dessert put in our to-go box and left. 23 years is off to a great start. Oh my God. Oh, I can feel the embarrassment of this one. Oh man, that's amazing. Okie dokie, here's our last story for today. Today I effed up by successfully breaking my friend out of jail. For a minute. This is a story of a jailbreak that actually worked for a minute. This was years ago, and I will not tell specifics and I will use fake names, but this is the most epic F-up I have ever heard of, and it was me that F'd up. I was in the military, but we were stateside. There was a group of fellow buddies with me. This was the night we all learned what a Jaeger bomb shot was. We had round after round after round after round. The night went by extremely fast, and my friend Brian decided he would drive myself and my roommate home to our off-base apartment. Oh God. We left the bar, and it was not long before we were pulled over. Turns out that a sedan having three 21-year-olds leaving a bar at 2 a.m. near a military base is suspicious. The police officer knew we were all drunk when he got to Brian's car window, and we all admitted to it. The police officer gave Brian a breathalyzer test, which he promptly failed. The officer handcuffed Brian and put him in the back of the police car. The officer then asked myself and the other passenger, who again was my roommate, if we would like to take a breath test and see if we were below the legal limit to drive Brian's car to our apartment, so that it would not be towed, and therefore we would save Brian the impound charges. We took our breath tests and promptly failed. This is when things began to get weird. The officer left us with Brian's car with the car keys also. Why? The officer drove off with Brian to take him to the local jail for booking. To this day, I don't know why he left us with Brian's keys. From the time the officer pulled us over, it had been approximately 20 minutes. My roommate and I had an oh so bright idea. Public service announcement. This is a good time to mention that this took place several years ago, at the time when DUIs were only just beginning to become a serious offence and driving under the influence didn't hold as serious punishment as they do today. We were young and very stupid, and I do not condone anyone driving under the influence of any mind-altering substance. In fact, I'm extremely happy that none of us hurt anyone that night, and that I can talk about this obnoxiousness today. I do not take lightly the danger we put ourselves and others in that night. This idea was followed by several ideas that escalated very quickly. You see, my roommate and I were military police officers. We felt bad that we let our friend drive us home and he got into trouble. With an extreme lack of judgment and against all of our common sense, we decided that we would drive Brian's car back to our apartment. We didn't have far to drive, but this doesn't excuse the absolute stupidity that we were acting upon. At some point between the time we started driving Brian's car and the time we arrived at our apartment, my roommate and I came up with a grand plan of how to get Brian out of jail. This was a multi-staged plan, and I will break it down. 1. Get Brian's car back to our apartment. 2. Brush our teeth and put gum in. 3. Shave and get into our military police uniforms. 4. Attach our guard belt to our waist so that we looked like we were on duty. 5. Call my precinct on base and inform the dispatch not to call the jail that Brian was at. Every night my command would call every jail in the area to check for military members so that we could take custody of them. I knew who was working dispatch that night, and that person just so happened to owe me a big favour. I made it clear that I would not explain why I was asking dispatch not to call this specific jail. Dispatch agreed not to call. 6. I called the jail Brian was at and told them that I was my command and that I was checking to see if any military members were in their jail. They stated yes and stated Brian's name. I asked if it would be okay if we came to take Brian into custody. They said yes. 7. Switch cars. Leave Brian's cars at our apartment and drive one of our own to the jail. 8. One last pep talk and walk out the door. We arrive at the jail and it's around 4 a.m. and very quiet. No other cars in the jail parking lot. We go to the jail entrance and ring a buzzer. The corrections officer speaks to us through the intercom system. I speak into the intercom while looking into a camera, and I inform the corrections office that we are there to take custody of Brian. They said okay. It took about 25 minutes before we heard anything further, and as you can imagine, we were scared out of our minds, and it felt like an eternity. It felt like the exact fear you would feel if you were trying to break a friend out of jail. Then, without warning, a loud buzzer sound goes off. The large, thick metal door in front of us slides open, and on the other side we see 2 corrections officers and Brian in handcuffs. I've never personally seen a ghost, but at that moment I knew what a person's face would look like if they ever had seen one. Brian's jaw dropped and his face went extremely flush. Ghost white! I greeted the corrections officers and told them I will put my handcuffs on Brian so they can have theirs back. But before doing so, I turned Brian around and gave him a pat down. I swapped the handcuffs and that was it. I had Brian in custody. My roommate and I thanked the correction officers and we turn and walk away with our hearts beating out of our chest. We're walking across the parking lot to our vehicle when my roommate whispers to me, "Don't get in the car. Don't get in the car." At that moment, a police officer walks up behind us and looks us dead in the eyes and asks, "Aren't you the 2 passengers of the vehicle I just pulled over tonight?" It was at this moment our hearts stopped, and so did our breathing. Like I said, the parking lot was empty when we'd arrived. No one inside or outside the jail had caught onto us. It just so happens that the arresting officer arrived to the jail while we were in the sally port waiting for Brian to be released to us. The arresting officer was just sitting there doing paperwork in his patrol car in the jail parking lot as we walked Brian out of the jail to our car. I'm sure you can all guess what happened next. Yep, we all got put in jail. About 8 a.m, our command actually came and got us. We got back to base and they told me to go home and they would call me when they needed me and to get my things in order because this was not going to go over well. I did just that and then arrived back to my command 24 hours later. I did not leave for 45 days. And then we were deployed again, so I never got off base again during that stateside stay. I was punished to the fullest extent of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, the military law. I was a disappointment to many people because of this F-up. I felt ashamed and I took my punishment. All the while I was the most famous person at my command. I represented what it was to have your fellow military personnel's back 100%. Everyone heard about this attempt to break Brian out of jail, and we were practically celebrities. To this day, I cannot figure out how in the hell I had the stupidity to try and pull this off. I'm proud to say that this did not ruin my military career and that I did get to serve out my enlistment and be discharged honorably. Needless to say, I have never effed up this bad ever again in my life. The military absolutely did not condone this behavior, but in some sort of way we were looked at as the most loyal friends a person could have. Our entire command had camaraderie like never before. It was crazy, insane, and stupid. However, like many other stories from my youthful years in the military, it's funny to look back on, and I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to serve with my brothers in arms. Even if we did F up sometimes. Like breaking someone out of jail. For a minute. Yeah, don't drink and drive. Well, I hope you all enjoyed those r/today I effed up stories, read by me, Red. If you did, please give the video a like. And please subscribe as well and hit the notification bell. I make videos every day and I know you want to listen to them. So, thanks so much for watching today, guys. I really appreciate you.